Hi everyone and welcome along. It's the 17th of December. Let's find out what's behind our door today. Oh, that's lovely. A classic pickup truck fetching the tree. Grab your paints and let's get started. Now, I believe this is quite a classic American image of a truck carrying the Christmas tree, a vintage red truck. So let's create the truck first. So we're going to have the driving part and then the back of the truck. Okay, so that's your basic shape, and then we can start to add in a bit of detail. So we're going to have a wheel. And then another wheel at the back. That's pretty nice. And then a little bit of a sort of a guard for the tree. I guess this is like the slightly bigger version of getting your tree in a sledge. So there we go. So there's our truck drawn, and we're going to use red for our car itself. So let's just get on and start painting, shall we? So I'm going to try and use a bit of unpainted space to give this truck a bit of character and a bit of shine. So I'm starting off with the size 0 brush, and it's alright at the moment. I might go down to the 4/10 just for a bit more control. But I'm just going to do everything in red, apart from the wheels. In red and unpainted space, basically. So those lines that I was drawing earlier were just sort of helpful little guides. A bit of fluff on the brush. Still doing all right with the size 0. I always like to see if I can hang on in there with a slightly larger brush, because I do love a small brush. I really do. I've kept the concentration of the colour fairly consistent throughout, so it's blended really nicely. That's looking really cool. So we'll move on to the wheels. We'll use Payne's grey. And I'm going to try and leave a tiny bit of space, but I think I will go down to my smaller brush for this bit. So wet the brush, get the paint. I've always found wheels hard, just to sort of get the roundness. That's looking quite nice, and what's nice is starting off with a bit of a dilute colour and building it up gives that tyre quite a nice bit of character to it and roundness. And roundness is always good, of course. Lovely. Okay, so we're now going to move our attentions up to the truck, to the Christmas tree, and I do have this little wooden sort of guard on the side of the truck which I will paint in first with a mixture of my browns. Okay, I'm going to let that dry and then we'll paint in the Christmas tree. So for a tree, let's get the green and the Payne's grey. Mix those two together. We've got a lovely forest green. So I'm just using that central line, and it'll get to the point where I'll want to start using a smaller brush when it gets a bit fiddly down at this bit. So there we go. Let's get a bit of brown for the trunk, and maybe just a little bit, and then just a bit of even more sort of concentrated Payne's grey for just a few little extra branches. So to finish off, I'm just going to pop a little bit of shadow on the ground. So dilute that right down. And it's always just great to pop in a bit of shadow to help ground your piece. And there you go, we'll just rub out the pencil and we've got ourselves a lovely classic red truck carrying a Christmas tree. There's the truck all rubbed out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow.